Just 4 days removed from a 1-1 draw to open the newly renovated Providence Park, a sunny day in the Pacific Northwest turns tonight, and Portland Timbers 2 prepares to host Western Conference foe Real Monarchs in the sleek downtown Portland venue in what should be a back-and-forth affair between the two teams jockeying for position as we head towards summer. It's match day 12 as T2 welcomes Real Monarchs to Soccer City, USA. And with that, we welcome you to the broadcast booth alongside two-time MLS Cup champion and former Portland Timbers defender Nat Borchers. I'm Fletcher Johnson. Nat, T2 have 6 results in their last 7 matches, but have missed out on maximum points here at home.
Yeah, it's been unfortunate for T2 not to get more points at home. They've only won 2 games out of the last 5, so they're going to want to impose their will early on in this game, and they also need to find that creative touch because they lack that against El Paso in their last game here.
Meanwhile, for Real Monarchs, tonight starts a stretch of 5 of 8 away from home, still looking for their first win on the road in 2019.
Yeah, and defensively they struggled. They've given up 9 goals in the last 3 games, so they're going to want to solidify things there, certainly, and it's been individual errors, so it's easy to clean up.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our players to watch. We'll start off with the home side, Portland Timbers 2, and Marvin Loria making his 3rd consecutive start after coming back from a foot injury.
Yeah, Marvin Loria is going to be key component to this attack tonight. He's going to be tasked with getting the ball in those areas in behind that midfield for Real Monarchs. He's going to have to play that final ball perfectly to get those goals.
Meanwhile, for Real Monarchs, the man starting up top will be Douglas Martinez, the 21-year-old from Honduras, someone that Martin Vasquez thinks highly of.
And this guy works hard on and off the ball, and he hasn't seen the results he's needed to see yet in terms of scoring goals, but he's done a great job with his runs. He's going to be a guy the backline is going to have to be aware of all game long.
Did score a goal in that match that they last played against Phoenix Rising. This is the 11th all-time meeting between Portland Timbers 2 and Real Monarchs. Monarchs holding a slight advantage, 4 wins to 3 for T2 and 3 draws between the two sides. Though here in Portland, whether it be at Providence Park or Merlot Field, T2 3-1-1 in those matches. We'll get you starting lineups and opening kickoff from the newly renovated Providence Park coming up next.
Into the box, a strike, and a goal.
Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the finest leagues in the world. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit SelectSportAmerica.com. Well, it doesn't get much more perfect than the weather tonight. 76 degrees, slight breeze, sunshine throughout the day here in Portland as the sun sets behind us into the West Hills. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at these starting lineups. We'll start off with Portland Timbers 2, a 4-2-3-1. That sees Marvin Loria get the start in the middle and the youngster Gio Clickstro get the start up top.
Yeah, Gio Clickstro scored some big-time goals against Los Dos a few games ago. He's going to be very important to this attack, especially in that box. And when those wide players get those balls swung in, he's going to have to be on the end of them.
Meanwhile, for Real Monarchs, it's a 4-2-3-1 as well. And it's a lineup that at times may look like a 4-4 or a 4-3-3, a 4-4-2, and then also into a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, it's very versatile, this kind of lineup for Martin Vasquez's team. But pay very close attention to Chang in the middle. He's going to be tasked with getting that ball in between those lines, turning and playing the balls wide to Hurd and Casher. And obviously, Martinez is going to be wanting to get on the end of some of those services.
Well, Cameron Knowles is, of course, the head coach for Portland Timbers 2 in his 2nd year, a record of 22-15-8. Led the team to their first ever playoff appearance in 2018 and looking to duplicate that feat here in 2019. And Nat, he's really instilled a belief amongst this team, whether it be here in this building or wherever they go out on the road in USL's Western Conference.
He seems to have got the recipe right in terms of the experience on the team, in terms of that defensive backbone as well. They struggled a little little bit a few seasons ago with that defensive responsibility. And it seems like as a defender, as a former center back, he's done a really good job with them on that end of the pitch.
Meanwhile, for Real Monarchs, Martin Vasquez is in his first season. The 55-year-old is the 4th coach in club history, just in their 5th season. Previously an assistant with LA Galaxy, Chivas USA, Bayern Munich, and the U.S. men's national team, and has coached all over the place and certainly brings a wealth of experience to this position.
Yeah, he certainly does, and he's a guy who's going to want to play that possession-based style. He's going to want to get the ball in the back and build into the midfield and then create things on the other end. And certainly his big focus when we talked to him was to make sure defensively they start getting things right, avoid those individual mistakes.
Our head referee tonight is John Freeman. He's assisted by Eric Wood and Seth Martin, and our 4th official tonight is Mike Hohenholz. Freeman blows his whistle, and we are underway. Portland Timbers 2 and Real Monarchs, of course, T2 5-2-4 so far this season, 19 points, which puts them 4th place in the Western Conference. Meanwhile, Real Monarchs 3-5-3 on 12 points as Asprilla is fouled here early by Ruiz. Monarchs had a lot of success in the previous couple seasons, especially at the beginning of last year, struggled as the season went along, and then this year not quite off to the start that they had hoped, but looking to build some momentum out of this game after a 4-2 loss to Phoenix Rising over the weekend.
Yeah, and they really struggled in that game just to make sure they were giving away the really silly mistakes defensively, and I think that's been the theme of their season thus far, Fletcher, is just silly defensive mistakes and trying to clean those things up, and that immediately makes you a better team defensively if you can do that.
Douglas Martinez with his first touch plays it to Ruiz, and Monarchs with a bit of the possession now here in the 2nd minute of action. T2, of course, a 1-1 draw with El Paso Locomotive over the weekend. Now, you mentioned just 2 wins in their last 5 home games, something that Cameron Knowles knows his team is disappointed about. Doesn't need to get on him too much because they feel that disappointment in the locker room when they have these opportunities to pick up a lot of points, especially considering they started off the season so strong.
It's so interesting, the mentality, the psyche of a team at home. Sometimes you can build a fortress mentally and on the pitch as results come, but when you don't get results, the uncertainty, the doubt can kind of creep in, and T2 just hasn't been able to establish this place as a fortress yet, and part of that is probably going to Merlot Field as a different venue, and now finally they're going to be here at Providence Park for the rest of the season. So this is certainly an important moment, an important time in the season to start building that fortress and start getting results here at home.
Foul called there on Ryan Sierakowski. A restart for Real Monarchs. It's a T2 side that took advantage of opportunities early, and very similar to 2018, Nat, got results on the road early. Whether they were draws, whether they were wins, they were able to come from a goal down or 2 goals down and earn themselves opportunities to get points on the road, and it's why they started off the season so strong. As the ball swung in, Sierakowski wins the header, but it goes out for the first corner kick of the night for Real Monarchs.
It's a sign of a good team, a team that can go down a goal and then respond by creating a chance and getting themselves back into the game. And full credit to Cameron Knowles for instilling that type of belief in his squad.
So the corner kick to come from the Monarchs. Swung in towards the back post. Header is there, down to the ground, and bounces over the net. That was a dangerous opportunity for Conrad Plua.
And the Monarchs love running numbers to the back post here. And this is just a clean opportunity there on that back post. The center back should do a lot better with that. He just gets the ball and just diving header right into the turf. Unfortunately, can't get it on frame. But if he gets on frame, that's a goal.
So T2 quickly give up possession in their own half, and Real Monarchs back with it. When we spoke with Martin Vasquez here early, he spoke about the desire to get on this T2 team in the first 10-15 minutes of this match. Both teams coming off short rest as Calixtro's called for the foul, taking down Plua.
And those set pieces are just so important in games, especially when you're playing against an opponent who has struggled on the road. You have to defend those better, because you have to imagine T2 should have the better of the play in this game, and they should be creating more of the chances. So those moments they're going to have to clean up.
Early ball in, no one there for Monarchs. Marco Farfan, first one to it, clears it out, but only as far as Andrew Brody. Brody's ball in. Rolls to Kendall McIntosh. McIntosh, of course, making his second appearance and start of the season. Made his first start of the year this past weekend in that 1-1 draw with El Paso. Faced 4 shots, made 3 saves. Gave up a goal just before halftime, which I know he would be disappointed in himself for giving up that goal. But overall, a good first appearance with T2 this season after recovering from an injury that he suffered early on in the year.
Yeah, it's nice to see Kendall McIntosh back in the lineup. He's such a good young player, a great shot stopper. You know, obviously when you have injuries, you don't get on the pitch. It's very frustrating, and he's got to be frustrated by that. But good to see him getting some minutes and being back in this team.
6 MLS Timbers in the lineup tonight for T2, as well as 1 Timbers Academy player, that being Gio Calixtro. The man up top, just 18 years old, from Cornelius, Oregon, just outside of Portland. Farfan looking over at the top for Calixtro. Joseph Fukumu there to win the header, and Monarchs come the other way. Important touch there from Farfan, only releases pressure for a moment. Hurd goes down, no foul called. Ball will roll out to touch for a T2 throw.
Seems like thus far, Fletcher, the Monarchs are the ones asking the questions right now. Obviously, they've gotten the ball in the wide areas just like this, and a little bit of contact there from Sierakowski, but certainly the T2 is going to want to impose their will here at home, and they're sitting in a little bit too much for my liking.
Yeah, I mentioned just the 1 loss in the last 7, but 2 wins in their last 5 home matches. Part of that could be the fact that missing 2 very important parts of this team from 2018 and the early stretches of 2019. Renzo Zambrano currently away with the Venezuelan men's national team. And Eric Williamson recently called into the combined US U23 and senior team camp that will be taking place. Was on the bench and made his debut against Philadelphia Union for the MLS Timbers recently, as Dielna wins the header and gets it out of danger. But again, T2 quickly give up possession.
And anytime, Fletcher, you lose 2 guys who are so key in your midfield, central midfield area, it's going to be very tough to recover. And those guys, Zambrano defensively and offensively, just the heartbeat of that team. Williamson has been so good playing that final ball, so many assists this year thus far. So you lose guys like that, you obviously lose a little bit in that possession and in the defensive side in the midfield. So I think for Calixtro and Wharton, it's going to be time for them to step up and obviously be accounted for and have good performances to fill in for those guys.
Yeah, you mentioned Williamson. He leads USL in assists with 7 in 9 appearances. Hasn't played since mid-May against Tacoma Defiance. That was a 4-1 win for Portland on the road. Tacoma Defiance, of course, the club formerly known as Seattle Sounders 2, changed their name in the offseason. As T2 with a little bit of possession here. Sierakowski controls off the chest, plays back to Farfan and back to Dielna.
It's going to be important to get Marvin Loria involved in this attack as early as possible. It's really tight centrally with the numbers that Monarchs have in there. So he's going to have to find ways to float in and out, trying to get touches on the ball if he's going to be a factor in this game.
Marvin Loria came in, was on loan from Saprissa last year, did good enough to earn a contract with the MLS Timbers. Picked up a foot injury back in late March. Spent basically all of April and May recovering, as here comes Hurd down the near side, gets around Farfan. Dielna, important touch, almost puts it in the back of his own net. Instead, it's just a corner kick.
And this is just too easy for the Real Monarchs to get in behind. Marco Farfan, he overplays the attacker here. It's able just to get by him with, and it's a nice early cross. Dielna almost puts that one in the back of the net. Some warning signs here for the T2 backline.
Dielna making his first appearance with T2 this season after a couple appearances with the MLS Timbers. Ruiz to send the corner in, punched away by McIntosh. And Akumu in front of Asprilla plays it back to Horvath. His first real action of the night. His first touch Not a good one, though, as Loria nearly cuts out the pass, but slips a bit, can't quite control it. And here comes Monarchs the other direction. They find Douglas Martinez, edge of the box against Jadama. Jadama does well to force him back to Hurd. Cross comes in, header won by Wharton. Directly back out to Andrew Brody. Potential for Chang. Chang will chip it over the top. Man got on it, but couldn't steer it on frame.
And he was calling for a little bit of contact here in the box. It's a nicely chipped ball into the box. Hansen's got a little bit of the man, but not enough, in my opinion, to get. It's close though. The referee could have called that for a penalty. There was a lot of contact there on Hansen, but the Monarchs doing a very good job, Fletcher, of getting out into that right wide flank area and getting crosses into the box.
There's Masta Cashier that nearly was able to find the back of the net there. As we are in the 11th minute here at Providence Park, new $85 million renovation. T2 playing the first 2 matches here in this building. The MLS Timbers will play the grand opening, if you will, coming up this Saturday night against LAFC in a nationally televised affair. But T2 with the opportunity to christen this building, so to speak. A 1-1 draw against El Paso here on Saturday night. And we'll see how things play out through 90 minutes here against Real Monarchs.
And they'll be the ones that want to get the first 3 points in this building, I would imagine. But what a wonderful moment for this club upcoming in the weekend. So much excitement built around this. Such a long wait for the players, for the staff, for the coaches, the whole organization. And what an amazing renovation the stadium has undergone. I got to go down with my other broadcast mates onto the field last week and just view this new side over there, and it's just incredible. You feel like you're part of something even bigger than what it once was. And I always felt this was one of the best places in North America to watch a soccer game, and now it's going to be even better.
Yeah, I have to imagine that as Asprilla does well to win the ball off of Powder, dribbles into the box, cuts around Powder, crosses it in. I believe it was Akumu, maybe Brody, who got there to knock it across the end line and give T2 a corner kick.
Asprilla really making himself a nuisance on this right-hand side. He does a great job here to win the ball back, and then he just goes straight to goal, just like a winger should. Does a good job of getting the ball across the box. Unfortunately, nobody there on the end of it.
5 goals for Asprilla so far in 4 appearances for T2. Wharton to hit the cross, floated in towards a penalty spot, finds Jadama. His right-footed hit is blocked and eventually played out to touch.
But back to the new stadium opening, Fletch, also walking around through the rest of the stadium, you almost feel like you're in somebody, with all the finishing touches and the light fixtures and the ceilings and the restaurants and everything, you almost feel like you're at a sporting event, but you're in somebody's living room. It just has such a nice local feel to it. It's just going to be an amazing experience for the fans.
Here comes Loria on the big dribble forward, finds Sierakowski, great first touch, gets it by the goalkeeper, plays it across the mouth of the goal, but no one was there for T2. Great opportunity for Portland in the 13th minute.
This is the best first opportunity for T2 in this game, and it falls to Ryan Sierakowski. It's a lovely ball from Marvin Loria. He gets a little bit too much on his first touch, gets the ball across the box, and unfortunately gives the Monarchs time to recover and not able to get on the end of it.
Shot comes from Ruiz, and it's well over McIntosh's net.
And Marvin Loria getting involved, so important. He plays Sierakowski, definitely onside for me, but it's that first touch that just lets him down, and unfortunately he goes to take another stab at it, and the ball just trickles across the box. But a great first opportunity for T2 in this match.
And we'll see if that wakes T2 up a bit, as I think it's fair to say that Real Monarchs have had the better of the play thus far. Klickstro gets it back to Jadama, who plays it over the top for Sierakowski, and Sierakowski called for a foul on Akumu. Mo Jadama, the lone player in this T2 side to have played in and started every single match so far this season. A 25-year-old from Sierra Kunda, Gambia.
And he's been a rock for this team. As a center back, you want to have consistent performances. The times that you do want to be noticed is when you're scoring goals or making brilliant defensive plays, and he's done those things this season. He's scored those goals. He's made the big plays. He's been very consistent, and we've seen him grow as well in terms of his communication and his leadership on that back line. He's done a very good job this season.
And you always talk about the spine of a team. You look at Jadama, you look at Todd Wharton, who's a veteran of USL. Renzo Zambrano, when he's been available. Kind of those pieces right there in central defense and then in the defensive midfield are so key to allow your team to not only have success, but allow your creative offensive players to feel comfortable going forward because they know things are locked up at the back.
Yeah, it's such an crucial ingredient to success as a team, defensively and offensively, to have guys that you can rely on game in, game out to do the job in that central part of the field, and it just makes everybody else around the team better.
Asprilla works it past Powder. Not sure if that's how he was planning on doing it, but it worked very well.
He'll take it.
Asprilla has certainly been the bright spot going forward for T2, opening up different opportunities and unlocking that Real Monarchs defense, as Portland happy to maintain a bit of possession here. And Hansen does well to track back, keep that in play, and earn a throw for T2.
And Asprilla just trying to, don't think he was trying to do that, but he will take the nutmeg there on Powder. But he is such a dangerous player, Asprilla, when he gets running, when he has just got his head down, he knows he's going towards goal. It almost would be to the detriment of Hansen sometimes, because Hansen is also a very fast player. It's hard to overlap another fast player, so I wonder if they're going to flip-flop it all in this
Great ball
game.
through from Wharton to find Hansen. Crossed in. Akumu kind of mishit the clearance and eventually is played out by Plua to touch.
T2 finding a lot of space on this right-hand side with Hansen and Asprilla coming down. Real Monarchs really struggling to shut that area down, and then on the opposite end of the field, it's the left side for T2 that Real Monarchs are finding space in, and so very important for T2 to be aware of that as well on the counter.
Foul called there on Portland. Fans, follow Portland Timbers 2 and the rest of the USL Championship all season long on ESPN+, home to the USL, MLS, UFC, and more. Join the over 2 million sports fans who've already discovered ESPN+ and watch the championship live every week. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com.
Mark mode. Harold, mark mode.
18th minute now here at Providence Park. In case you're just joining us, Fletcher Johnson and Nat Borchers here with you as handball called in the box on Masta Kasher.
And Josh Hurd doing a great job of getting the ball swung into the box. Looks like the arm was out, hits him right there. A good call from the referee, but I've been really impressed, Fletcher, with the movement of Hurd on that far right touchline. He's done a really good job of getting himself in wide areas to get isolated 1v1 against Marco Farfan, and he's also done a good job of overloading centrally and allowing Brody to roam up that right-hand channel.
Referee John Freeman having a chat with Claude Diona, the 31-year-old from France, signed in the offseason by the MLS Timbers after a couple seasons with the New England Revolution, and started 2 matches for the MLS Timbers back on March 17th, March 31st against LA Galaxy and FC Cincinnati. Getting his first start with T2 here tonight.
I think the referee's having issues with the green socks over the black socks that he's got on, and it looks like they've come to some sort of agreement that as long as he pulls down the green socks a little bit lower, he's fine.
I would get it if Real Monarchs were wearing black kits, but they're wearing white, so it shouldn't be too much of a confusion, right?
I wouldn't imagine so. I think the referee's being a little bit nitpicky there.
Loria somehow manages to keep it in amongst 4 Monarchs defenders and get it into space for Anguiano. A match that, for the most part, has been played in the midfield thus far. Not many good opportunities for either side. 3 shots for the Monarchs officially, none for Portland Timbers 2. Though you could argue Portland Timbers 2 has had the best opportunity in this match thus far. Sierakowski inside the box, heavy first touch, played it across. As Horvath came out, no one was home for T2. And the wide open net could have given him a lead in the 13th minute. Shinama tries to float it over the top for Espria, doesn't put enough on it. Shoulder-to-shoulder challenge by Espria, wins the ball back. Central for Anguiano. Back to Warden. And now it's Portland winning the ball back quickly when they give it up. Marco Farfan, maybe one of the parts of his game that he needs to improve if he hopes to make more appearances with the MLS Timbers. It's that attacking play, getting crosses off when the opportunity presents itself.
So difficult as an outside back to find opportunities, the decision of when to go forward, when to drop in. And there's so much running involved in those channels.
Here's the ball forward for Martinez, who will be able to track it down as Dielna comes over to defend. Central for Cashier, and out wide for Brody. Brody defended by Sierakowski, cuts it back. Cross in with a left foot, headed away by Dielna. "21 minutes in now, Nat. I mean, what have you seen so far from these two teams? We haven't seen a whole ton of great opportunities, but some opportunities for both sides as Martinez is offside.
Well, it just seems to me like the Monarchs are doing a really good job in transition of getting down that right-hand channel and being very dangerous with the runs from both Brody and Hurd. And on the opposite end for T2, it just seems like they've just been a little bit too vanilla with their attack. They just haven't moved the ball quickly enough. When Loria has gotten on the ball, they've been dangerous, and I think he needs to get on the ball a little bit more. Needs to dictate that play in the middle of the field. And if he doesn't get the ball in the middle, he needs to go out wide and start finding play out there. And then I think Espria has done an excellent job of finding the game.
Here is the aforementioned Espria, whose shot goes off the back of Powder and is picked up by Akumu, the 22-year-old from Kenya, in his first season with the Monarchs. But Loria quickly wins it back.
It doesn't seem like either team, though, has controlled the game. Neither team has really dominated the possession necessarily. It seems like the Monarchs have had the better of the possession game, but T2 seem to be growing a bit in it. They just have to start moving the ball a bit quicker.
Here's Cashier. Tries the back heel for Powder, who is too far out in front of him.
That's excellent defending, too, from Harold Hansen. He did a good job with his body positioning.
And Plua goes down. Calixtro is the benefactor. Tries to dribble around Akumu. Akumu gets a touch on the ball, it looks like, and it will just be a corner. John Freeman issuing the corner kick as Calixtro questions the call.
Yeah, and it's a mistake here from Plua, who just gets caught in the turf. Calixtro runs at the defender, goes wide, and the defender does get all the ball there. So I think that's a good no call from the referee.
So it ends in the second corner kick of the night for T2 from this same corner. Todd Wharton to strike. And Freeman blows his whistle to hold the corner kick, as John Freeman wants to have a conversation with the Real Monarchs defender, and it looks like potentially Darren Espria. And it is Conrad Plua who he's having a conversation with.
Plua's got his hands full with Espria. Espria is such a strong individual, very hard to mark defensively on set pieces.
Espria going towards the back post, now coming towards the penalty spot, headed on by Sierakowski. And they do say it took a deflection and will go out for another corner kick.
But I like what Calixtro did there, just getting the ball, running at the defender. Obviously doesn't come off the way he would have wanted to, but being decisive, making that move, obviously got him in a good situation, almost for a chance.
This time Wharton will play it short to Farfan, works around his man, hits the cross, looks for Dielna, who gets his head to it but can't steer it on frame.
Marco Farfan doing a really good job of getting some space and finding that cross. Dielna just getting slightly in front of his mark. Couldn't get that ball down on goal, but an excellent opportunity for T2 there on the set piece.
Certainly seems that T2 are growing into this match. Maybe a little tired legs from the match on Saturday night against El Paso, but after a quiet first 10 minutes have had a couple good opportunities here in the last 15.
Yeah, and like I said in the open, Fletcher, imposing their will is going to be important for T2, and you impose your will in two different ways. You do it either on the defensive end by controlling a match, or you do it in the possession side on the offensive end, and this is where they really have to be good, really have to start moving the ball, getting those touches, creating those chances. And I think it's going to be important to have long stretches of possession. You don't want to always play that final ball and give up possession like they did there. You want to cycle the ball around and really move the Monarchs around, really get them more tired, because in those situations it may take until the second half to tire them out, but that's when you really start doing it, is in this part of the game to really move them around.
Well, not only that, this is a T2 side that has enjoyed scoring goals so far this year. They're tied for third in USL with 24 goals so far on the season. And Nat, as you mentioned in our pregame coverage, this is a Real Monarchs team that has been prone to make some individual mistakes, give up goals in positions that they should not be giving up goals in. So it's a matter of taking your opportunities and then also maybe being a little bit fortuitous in a sense to take advantage or take some chances, because you know Real Monarchs have had some mental slips as Jadama sends through Asprilla, his cross blocked away by Plua.
You know, I think the other side of that, Fletcher, is pressing. If you watch the Phoenix Rising game against the Monarchs this last match, they did a really good job of pressing the Monarchs at the right times, which led to that first mistake by the goalkeeper in the first goal. And so that's what you do. You put teams under pressure, especially teams like the Monarchs who do struggle with those individual errors.
So the fourth corner kick of the evening, as shots are now even at 3 apiece. Portland with 3 shots here in the last 5 minutes or so, as Wharton will float this one towards the back post, doesn't curl it at all, and it goes out of play.
Yeah, and he'll be disappointed with that opportunity. You want to get that ball swung into the box, give your guys the opportunity. As a center back, I always yelled at the guy serving the ball for making me run all the way up there and not even giving me an opportunity. Now I got to sprint all the way back.
Well, and frankly, it's nothing against Todd Wharton, but that's where you miss Eric Williamson.
Absolutely.
I mean, a guy who has 7 assists in 9 appearances for T2 this season. That is one of his specialties.
Absolutely, and the quality of the service, clubs pay big money for that, and you see the quality that you get with the Timbers, with Valeri and Blanco, the kind of service they're able to give game in and game out. It's special.
Cashier finds Powder on the run forward. Now central for Hurd. Corner of the box, Powder. Loria quickly on to cut out that pass that was intended for Pena. Marvin Loria coming back to do the defensive work. Would expect him to see at least 75 minutes tonight, if all goes well. Again, recovering from that foot injury in his 3rd match back. Played the first half 2 matches ago, 57 minutes against El Paso on Saturday night. So would seem prime for that 75, maybe 80-minute range as he works back to full fitness. This ball sprayed by Akumu and picks out Cashier very well. Hansen over to defend. And an important block away by Jadama in front of Martinez. And then Asprilla is taken down, I should say, by Cashier. And we will see our first caution of the match to Masta Cashier.
Cashier coming in here. He studs up. He comes out of it a little bit at the end, but it's definitely dangerous play from the wide player. Certainly, I think the referee gets this one right to set the tone. A good yellow card, good call.
Cameron Knowles agrees.
I would imagine he would.
Hopefully we don't have any lip readers watching the broadcast, as you could see his reaction to the challenge. Asprilla up, though. Looks to be okay. As you look at Cashier, spent his youth career with the Montreal Impact, 23-year-old Algerian, and was previously with the Colorado Springs Switchbacks. Fan of DC Comics and superheroes. Looking to be a superhero for his club tonight.
Who isn't a fan of superheroes, Fletch? If you were a superhero, who would you be?
Oh man, that's a great question. That's something I would have to think about. Do you have an answer? Is this something you think about at night?
I expect an answer from you at halftime.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's enough time. 16 minutes. Okay. Back to action as we are just about a half hour in. Akumu dribbles forward, finds Brody out on the right. Sierakowski out there to defend, now to Hurd. Gets his cross off under Farfan. And Dielna there ahead of Martinez.
Dielna and Jadam have done a very, very good job of controlling the ball, the crosses into the box. They've been on the right side of their man every time the ball has come into the box, and just to make sure that the crosses haven't been as dangerous as they normally might.
Glickstro is fouled as we cross into a half hour into this match. Fletcher Johnson and Nat Borchers here with you at Providence Park. As the sun sets here in the Rose City. Beautiful Wednesday night. Temperature around 76 degrees at kickoff as Dielna gives it up. And Martinez comes the other direction. He's got Hurd and also Chang, but McIntosh quickly off his line to collect the cross.
Yeah, and it's a mistake from Dielna to give the opportunity to the Monarchs, but you have to give credit to Kendall McIntosh. He controls the ball, controls his box well with that call, and you want to see that as a center back, a guy who's going to be confident and go out and get that ball. Good play from McIntosh.
Anguiano fouled from behind by Martinez. Doesn't like the call.
And Martinez and Chang have been giving Calixtro the business in the center of the midfield, and good to see Anguiano. Good to see Anguiano doing a very good job of standing up for himself.
Aspria does well to kind of dummy that onto himself. Will he be able to get there in front of Plua? No. As the central defenseman plays it out to touch.
And Powder has had difficulties matching up against Aspria. He's one of those players where if you get too tight to him, he can just kind of roll you, and if you're too far away from him, he can beat you 1v1. So it's a very difficult matchup for the young lad.
Aspria, of course, 5 goals, 2 from the penalty spot, or I should say 1 from the penalty spot, and then against El Paso on Saturday night has penalty kick saved, but it was directed right back to him, and he was able to finish on his unfavored left foot. But probably the goal of the year came in T2's home opener back in March, as Calixtro gets on the end of that misdirected header from Brody. Aspria scored a bicycle kick from just inside the penalty area. That was a Sports Center top 10 play, number 3 that evening. Saw over 200,000 views on social media. And certainly, as mentioned, will likely be hard-pressed to believe that wouldn't be goal of the year in USL Championship. But still a lot of soccer yet to be played. Anguiano touches to Sierakowski, back to Anguiano, shoots, blocked by Akumu, and headed away by Chang.
It's a good spell of possession here from T2. Got to find the final product, though. Got to find Loria. Get him on the ball. Get him moving things around.
Sierakowski to Farfan. Farfan's cross blocked away by Brody. And out for the 5th corner kick of the first half for T2.
You can tell, though, the Monarchs have really put an emphasis on defending tonight. They've been very good in that low block, just absorbing the pressure. T2 really hasn't found, other than that Sierakowski chance, found any passing to unlock them.
As you look at Martin Vasquez there for just a moment before Wharton's corner kick to come in, spun towards that near post, headed away. Anguiano plays it back to Hansen. And in our conversations with Cam Knowles, it truly is about development through success, putting players in a position to not only be prepared for first team, or I should say MLS Timbers minutes, but also win matches, understand what it takes to win matches, and win trophies here in USL.
And I've been impressed also with the way that the alignment now with the Timbers and with T2 in terms of the way they both want to play this 4-2-3-1. It's a versatile type of a lineup where you can do different things, obviously, with that midfield three, that triangle, but definitely keeping those things the same, keeping them similar for guys who are coming up from T2 to the Timbers and then going down to T2 from the Timbers. It just makes things a lot easier and understandable. And also talking to Martin Vasquez, they're doing exactly the same thing. They want to have the same type of a style, which is possession-based, as Real Salt Lake does.
Loria gets around his man into the box, has options, dribbles all the way to the end line, hits it off of Horvath, and then earns T2 a corner kick, much to the dismay of the goalkeeper for Monarchs.
And this is so good from Loria, just taking the bull by the horns, going down that channel, finding the space, can't get that pass off, and unfortunately just runs right into the goalkeeper at the end of it. But this is what I want to see from Loria, finding the game, going into wide channels if he needs to, and running at players.
Portland hasn't made enough of these corner kick opportunities. We'll see what Wharton does with this one. This one sprayed towards the penalty spot. Jadama rises to win the header. Akumu went down, though, and a foul called on Portland. Tune in to ESPN News on Wednesday, June 5th at 6 p.m. for Wednesday Night Soccer when OKC Energy FC travels to Albuquerque to face current Western Conference leaders New Mexico United. It's the week's best match on Wednesday Night Soccer, June 5th at 6 p.m. on ESPN News. Jordan Pena picks it up and out to Akumu. Puts one over the top, looking for Chang. Headed down by Jadama, but only as far as Martinez, who shoots. It's blocked. Chance basically out of nothing for Real Monarchs, ends up in a corner kick.
And this is a great ball over the top from the Monarchs. Just catching T2 sleeping at the wheel a little bit. Jadama does a disappointing job of clearing that ball, and then it falls to the Monarchs player for a chance. But a simple ball like that, the T2 has to be able to clear opportunities like that to make sure they're not dangerous.
19-year-old Argentinian Pablo Ruiz to take the corner kick. Third of the night for the Monarchs. In towards a penalty spot. Wharton brings it down. Not necessarily what he wanted to do. I don't know if he was expecting it. The way it came in, he does get it out to touch.
I'll say the Monarchs have done a really good job when they've been going forward.
Here comes Cashier holding off Wharton. Back to Martinez, shoots, and what a goal from Douglas Martinez. He's given the visitors the lead in the 37th minute with his third goal of the year.
And it just comes off of a throw-in here. Really good movement from the Monarchs. Nice job there. And Martinez with a fantastic job of finishing that opportunity. Casher there with the hold-up play. Martinez just hammering that ball into the back of the net. The hard work pays off for the striker. 1-0 to the Monarchs.
Douglas Martinez, as we mentioned before the match started, was our player to watch for Real Monarchs. Very highly thought of by this Real Salt Lake organization, specifically his manager, Martin Vasquez, has put Real Monarchs in front here in Portland. Has 8 caps with the Honduran U20 national team. Spent his youth career and early pro career at Vida in Honduras. 27 appearances, 3 goals from 2013 to 17, but seems to have found a home here with Real Monarchs. It's Dielna and Chang go towards that header, goes off of Chang out to touch.
And we mentioned it in the opening, Fletch, that Martinez does such a good job off the ball of working hard, of creating chances for other players. And then he hasn't really gotten the results he's wanted so far, but for him to get this goal tonight's got to be great for his confidence. Conversely, though, you have to say for T2, got to do a better job defending there. It's a throw-in. You have to match up a little bit better. Casher does a really good job of getting his body in there and laying that off. And then, who's marking Martinez in that situation? T2 defense just getting scattered and not tracking the runner.
It's the 6th match that T2 has allowed the first goal this season. In the previous 5, they've only lost once. They have 1 win and 3 draws. As Aspria went up to win that header, I think he clashed heads with the defender there and immediately went down, and John Freeman, rightly so, blows his whistle so that T2 trainer Greg Wakefield can come out and take a look at him. This would not be good for T2, as Darren Aspria has been arguably the most dynamic player in this match for Portland so far.
Yeah, you never want to see this. Any type of injury to the head, always something that you're going to have to keep a close attention to. And Aspria goes up for the ball here. Looks like Powder and him just collide there. I think Powder may be collided with Aspria's cheekbone. Aspria just checking to make sure. Maybe it was more the arm from Powder that got him. Looks like he's going to be okay.
It's good to see, yeah. Kind of almost an unintentional elbow that came up from Powder as he tried to rise to win the header. Aspria, of course, 26 years old, the Colombian, was signed by the MLS Timbers on December 8th of 2014 and has illustrated some pretty meaningful moments in this Timbers organization's history, whether it be his golazo against FC Dallas in the first leg of the playoffs in 2015 on their run to MLS Cup, the bicycle kick for T2 earlier this year, heroics in Seattle against the Sounders in leg 2 of the Western Conference semifinals last year. Aspria has a knack for the spectacular.
Mr. November, I believe, is what his nickname was after last year's heroics against Seattle. And he's a bit of an enigma, Aspria.
As McIntosh does well to come off his line and collect that in front of Martinez.
He goes through long stretches without finding his form, some difficult performances, and then he's able to show these amazing gifts of individual brilliance in games, and you want to see more of that as a fan and as a former teammate, but it just hasn't been there consistently enough for him.
Aspria called for a foul there, stepping under Powder, said head referee John Freeman. As we're inside the final 3.5 minutes of the first half. Ball over the top for Hurd. Controlled in front of Farfan. First time cross goes off of Farfan and out for a corner kick.
And again, it's Hurd just making a nuisance of himself on that right channel. He's just finding the spaces, and his teammates are finding those long balls over the top, and he's able to run on and then try to get those crosses into the box. T2 has to do a better job of recognizing that. They're going to have to drop their line a little bit further, recognize that when the ball is coming over the top, you have to drop that line in order to play that space more effectively.
Should be an in-swinging ball from Ruiz towards the near post. Martinez wins the header and out for a goal kick. McIntosh looks to play quickly and will play out to Aspria here on the near side. Can T2 catch Real Monarchs napping? Real Monarchs do well, get numbers back.
Hold it, hold it, hold it. Now we're up a bit. Now we're up a bit.
And Portland happy to play with a little bit of possession here.
Okay, no foul. Good. Stand back in, son.
Loria gets around one man, gets around a second in Pena, shoots, goes off the back of Plua. He had a couple options, and Sierakowski or Calixtro decided to take the shot instead.
It's just so congested in there, Fletcher, with Pena and Ruiz in the center of the park. They're doing a really good job of limiting that space in there, and I think Loria's done an okay job of getting finding some space in there, but he needs to drift out a little bit wider sometime to find the game.
Dielna tries to float a ball towards Calixtro over his head, collected by Hansen before it goes out to touch. Cashier over to defend, and Hansen loses it out to touch.
hasn't seen Fletcher like the energy has been there for T2 after giving up that goal. You want to see after you give up a goal, as a coach, your team respond and create a chance and have a little bit more energy. It seems like the flow of the game has been just a little bit lackadaisical. So I think going into halftime, he's going to want to ask a little bit more of his squad from an energy standpoint.
Just keep up. Good.
T2 have generally enjoyed playing soccer in this building all time in their history in Providence Park. The record may not indicate that, 11-18-4, but if you take out 2017, which in a lot of ways was just an aberration, only had 3 wins that year, and went 1-12-13 at home in 27-13 here in Providence Park. If you take out that year, they're 10-6-1 all time here in this building.
Yeah, that was a difficult year, obviously, with that record, but certainly a lot of reasons for that. Just a very, very young and inexperienced team. But to your point, they've been very, very good in this building otherwise. And again, they have to build that home fortress mentality. They have to start getting results at home because they've been so good on the road. And those are the harder results to get when you're on the road and you're traveling and not in your friendly confines at home.
We'll play 1 minute of stoppage time here at the end of the first half. Brody tries to chip it over Anguiano, doesn't come off, and Wharton pushes out the other direction.
It seems like the Monarchs have done a really good job of limiting the transition moments for T2. They're usually a very good team in transition, and tonight it just had this first half. They just haven't been good enough in stringing that first couple passes to spring the attack.
Sierkowski early ball in, straight to Horvath. Might be the last action we see in the first half, as you have to imagine Real Monarchs would be very happy to take this 1-0 lead to the break here at Providence Park.
Yeah, I think Martin Vasquez will be very happy with his team's performance. It seems like they've been on the front foot. They've had the better of the play.
And there is the whistle from John Freeman to end the first half of play. Douglas Martinez's goal in the 37th minute has the visitors out in front. Real Monarchs 1, Portland Timbers 2-0. As Portland, when trailing at the half, 1-2-2 so far this year. 3 results from 5 matches when trailing at the break. They'll have to do it again here tonight as they find themselves behind Real Monarchs. Halftime show to come.
Statesboro, it's like this little oasis of a location.
I think Statesboro loves itself. It's the first thing I would say.
This is a win for the community. Not only are we getting a professional level soccer team, a sport that's loved around the world, but we are now creating an economic development area that's going to have a huge impact on our community and throughout this region.
I'm not surprised, to be honest, that Tormenta was one of the first teams approached when League One came about. I think it was blatantly obvious to everyone that knew anything about American soccer that Tormenta was a force in League Two, and everything from top to bottom was done so professionally that I had a good year in college and I had some other looks, but for me, I wanted to be at Tormenta FC, and I knew there was 10 other guys coming back here that I knew were bought in and they have the same goals that I do.
This is the first step of a very, very, very long journey. This is a league match. We set some pretty lofty expectations for results this year, did we not? Okay?
Getting here, okay, is a good place to be. And now, what you guys need to do is take it that one step further.
Family, boys. Family, 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 eh?
Yeah!
It's Prater! What a hit!
missed that.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.
Halftime here at Providence Park as Real Monarchs lead Portland Timbers 1-0 here at the break. And we welcome you into the broadcast booth once again. Nat Borchers and Fletcher Johnson here with you. And Nat, let's go ahead and take a look at some USL storylines, specifically as it relates to Portland Timbers 2. A couple players to note: Renzo Zambrano away with the Venezuelan men's national team, Eric Williamson in the combined US U23 and senior national team camp. Two players who have played a vital role for T2 here this season.
Yeah, when you take two players out of those midfield roles for T2, obviously the team is going to struggle just a little bit, and those guys are so important to this team. You can see they're missing them a little bit tonight.
Yeah, and both have made their MLS Timbers debut here in the last month. So a reward for them for their play with T2 here over the course of the last year plus. Meanwhile, the other big storyline, of course, is the newly renovated Providence Park. Nat, $85 million expansion, seating now over 25,000 people. You had the chance to view it, and it is pretty spectacular.
Yeah, talk about making a big event even bigger and feel more special. We got to go down onto the field, pass the soccer ball around a little bit, pretend like we were playing the big game. And man, I was so jealous of the players because they're going to enjoy just another 4,000 people watching them play the game of soccer, and all the finishing touches are so nice. The turf is brand new. The stadium feels so good right now.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool on Saturday night when the MLS Timbers take on LAFC in a nationally televised game, the first MLS Timbers match here at Providence Park. Well, back to this one between T2 and Real Monarchs. Nat, your thoughts on the first half? It was a back and forth half that saw Real Monarchs take the lead late in the half.
Yeah, it seems like Real Monarchs came in with a game plan. They've done a good job of transitioning and finding space on that right midfield area. Hurd has done a good job of crossing some balls into the box, and T2 has struggled a little bit in their transition game, obviously defending set pieces as well. So they'll need to tighten things up. And also, they need to find Marvin Loria a lot more going forward in the attack.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look at some of our first half highlights. We'll start in the third minute with the visitors that nearly took the lead.
Yeah, and this was one of those plays where you have to do better defensively. The Monarchs does do a great job of swinging that ball, and that should be the opening goal for the Real Monarchs. They just got to get that ball headed onto the goal from the center back. Plua.
Our T2 player to watch was Marvin Loria. He was active in the first 45.
He was very, very active, and he is just so good at running with the ball at his feet, running in transition, making players mix, making players dive, and then playing the final ball. He does such a good job of releasing players as well when he's running at teams. And he is so good in really tight spaces as well. 3 players around him in this scenario. He's able to boom, 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 get himself out of there and then create an opportunity for his team. He just needs to continue that in this second half. He does a good job even coming back defensively to try and find the game. And that's what you need to do when you're playing that midfield position, that number 10 position, when sometimes it's just been a little bit too tight for him. But really, that explosiveness, getting on the ball, making those decisions, T2 is going to have to continue to go with him in the second half if they're going to have success.
8 minutes before halftime, it was Douglas Martinez that got Monarchs on the board.
Yeah, and it's just a simple throw in here and a great job with the hold-up play. Look at the technique, though, from Martinez. He does such a good job. He knows exactly where he wants to go in that upright corner. Kendall McIntosh has no chance.
Well, Portland had the better of the possession in the first half, 57-43. But it's the visitors that have the lead in the most important category, and that is goals. 1-0 in favor of Real Monarchs as we are back underway here at Providence Park. No changes for either side at the break. As we mentioned, Portland, when trailing at halftime, 1-2-2 so far this year. So they have won a match and drawn 2 when they've trailed at the break. You would think playing at home, they have an opportunity to get themselves back into it early, but not to be able to do that. What do you want to see out of them here in the first 10, 15 minutes of the second half?
They got to bring some energy. They definitely have to start on the front foot. They have to press this Real Monarchs team. This is a team we talked about in the open. They give away silly goals. Martin Vasquez, we talked to him about that earlier today, and they want to clean that up, but you want to press a team that gives up silly goals like that, and they just haven't done enough of that. Secondarily, just being more creative in the attack. They have to find more Marvin Loria. And Marvin Loria, he needs to find the game a little bit more as well. He needs to come into the channels if he needs to find the game. He needs to stay in that central location in the midfield, like right here, to find the game, come back to find the game, whatever he needs to do to get more touches on the ball, because he is going to be a major threat running forward against the Monarchs.
My apologies. We did see 1 substitution from each team at the break, so take care of a little housekeeping. Claude Dielna comes off at the end of the first half, and Roy Miller makes his first appearance since April 30th for T2. Miller, the 34-year-old Costa Rica native, recovered from a torn Achilles, was signed by T2 this offseason and left that April 30th match due to an injury. So good to see Roy Miller back healthy and on the field. And then for Real Monarchs, Damian Herman, the 22-year-old Phoenix, Arizona native, is on as Asprilla has it 25 yards from goal. We'll clean up the substitution here in just a moment as Hansen has it, pressured by Cashier. Tries to work his way around Cashier, able to get it to Sierakowski. Drops to Loria. Now wide to Farfan.
Get up, close. Good.
As Real Monarchs clears, Damian Herman on for the goal scorer Douglas Martinez, who comes off at halftime. So Martinez off and Herman on, who spent his youth career with Real Salt Lake, Arizona, and is in his first season with the Monarchs.
And you can see T2 there probing, trying to find a weakness in that Monarchs defense, but the Monarchs are doing just such a good job of making sure they're compact, they're tight, they're organized, and no central passes are able to be found by T2 in these instances. So they need to start finding those wide balls, getting the ball swung into the box and just getting runners in there, if that's the case where the Monarchs are going to bunker in.
Asprilla's long switch mishit a bit and out to touch.
Interesting, though, that Martin Vasquez would sub off his goal scorer. You have to wonder if it's injury related or it's just rest that Martinez needed.
Martinez did play the full 90 on Saturday night against Phoenix Rising. So maybe it is just a little bit of minute management, especially with the upcoming stretch for Real Monarchs, who tonight are starting a stretch of 5 matches of their next 8 away from home. They'll play at home against Rio Grande Valley coming up June 8th, and then a couple road matches at Colorado Springs, at Tulsa. But they actually only play 3 matches total in the month of June, very similar to the month that Portland just went through, as this is just the 3rd match of the month for T2 in May.
We've seen Asprilla and Sierakowski switch sides as well, Fletcher, and I'm thinking that just might be because they want to get Hansen a little bit higher, get Asprilla on a different side, give him a different run at the defender on this side for the Monarchs, and certainly just mix things up attacking wise for T2, give them some more opportunities to create chances.
Yeah, if you're looking at the substitution defensively that was made for Portland, it means they only have 2 left. Couple different attacking options as Asprilla's double team down in the corner, able to stay on his feet and keep possession. Still with it, able to get around one man and earns T2 a corner kick. So good work by Asprilla, keeping possession and getting his team an opportunity to send a cross in.
One of Asprilla's best attributes is his ability just to ride challenges and to play out of things like this. He does a great job here of earning this corner kick, just staying active, being aggressive. Well done from Asprilla.
Wharton's corner kick doesn't really get by the first man and cleared out to touch. Finishing the thought on the substitutes available for Cam Knowles. Foster Langsdorff has 4 goals this season. Nathan Smith, the outside back. Max Orn still the central defender. Christian Ojeda, the winger. And Brian Hurtado, along with the goalkeeper Charlie Line, who's an who is an MLS pool goalkeeper. And in with T2 here tonight. Comes Brody with a long dribble in. His cross blocked by Farfan.
And this is the first time the Monarchs have really had any possession inside T2's half. T2's come out with a lot more energy this half. They've definitely tried to be more on the front foot to press and possess and try to create opportunities.
Miss-hit ball forward by Akumu goes straight to Kendall McIntosh, who rolls it out for Jadama. Roy Miller played a lot early in the season for T2. Recovering from that Achilles injury, and I know, Nat, that's something you had to deal with, and it's impressive that Roy Miller's been able to come back and still play at a high level given his age and dealing with such a serious injury.
Yeah, it's a very difficult injury to come back from, and the last thing that comes back really is that explosiveness, that strength, and that confidence of being able to cut, of being able to do those short sprints, which you're required to do as a center back in that situation. So full credit to Roy for putting in the effort off the pitch to get healthy, and he's looked very, very good since he's come back in.
Spent 3 seasons with the MLS Timbers, did Roy Miller. 2010 through 2015 with the New York Red Bulls. Part of his career in Norway and Sweden before that. 50 caps, actually more than that with Costa Rica, including the 2014 World Cup. That amazing run that the Ticos went on, as Sierakowski has it just outside the box. Settles, plays central for Loria, prep touch. Defense comes quick. Loria maintains possession. Will shoot. Doesn't quite get enough on it. Momentarily spilled by Horvath, but Calixto too far away to pressure.
There are just so many numbers in the center of the pitch on the top of the box for the Real Monarchs. They're doing a very, very good job of defending there. But again, for T2, if the space isn't on inside those areas, you got to get wide. You got to find those wide balls, and then you got to get crosses into the box. So I think the onus is really going to be on the outside backs to get forward, get crosses into the box, and then Loria and Calixto, they've got to be making runs in the box to get on the end of things.
Yeah, we think back to the highlight package we showed you right there at the end of halftime, and you saw that outside of that one ball that Loria was able to play through the middle to Sierakowski, which was kind of on a pseudo counterattack. A lot of his action, and anyone else's for T2 for that matter, in the first half came from the outside because Real Monarchs were pushing so many numbers into the middle. Is that in your mind, a sense of stubbornness from Portland that they want to play through the middle and an unwillingness to try and play on the outside? Why have they seemed to struggle to get the ball to the outside into those open spaces?
That's a great question. Well, you look at the strength of the team and you think they do have some speed in the wide areas with Espria. Laurie obviously is centrally located. He hasn't come out enough for me to really find the game. I just don't think the outside backs have been aggressive enough in this match, Fletcher, for me. They need to get more involved. They need to get start counter, overlapping a bit more in those wide areas. And I think that's one of the tactical reasons why Espria has flip-flopped with Sierakowski, is so that Hansen can get more involved in the attack.
Here's Chang, plays it out wide to Brody. Brody defended by Farfan, gets around Farfan into the box. Cross comes in, nearly finds Chang, and then the offside flag up, I believe, on Chang. Although that ball was down pretty close to the end line.
Yeah. Brody here again on the front foot against Marco Farfan, able to get a bit of space to get the cross across, but it's a very good job defensively from Wharton to come back and make sure that he was in a good position.
And it was after Chang's touch that then Brody was offside as he played that ball. Early cross in from Hansen, collected by Horvath, but something different from T2.
That's better from T2, just getting the ball, springing it wide for Hansen. It was a decent cross from him. Certainly you want to get more runners into the box. You want to get that ball away from the goalkeeper, but that's very positive from T2.
56th minute. Real Monarchs 1, Portland Timbers 2-0. This, of course, the first of two meetings between Portland and Real Monarchs. They will meet again on Saturday, September 14th, a noon kickoff Pacific time at Zions Bank Stadium. Laurie pressures Cashier from behind, who does well to maintain possession. And here comes Chang into the box. His dribble forward deflected by Farfan and collected by McIntosh.
Well defended from Marco Farfan. He gets his body positioning right. He's forcing Chang to the wide area as much as he possibly can. Then Chang just kind of runs into him at the end of that play. And we talked a little bit about Marco Farfan off camera, just about his growth, his development, what he needs to do to continue to get minutes. And for me, Fletcher, it comes down to just that positioning, that understanding of where he needs to be in certain situations off the ball, I think, as well as in those 1v1 areas.
Played outside to Farfan. First time cross in, nearly towards Calixtro. Headed away momentarily by Plua, then down by Powder. Cleared only momentarily to Wharton, who keeps it in front of Pena. Make that Ruiz, and then Ruiz fouls Wharton.
And this is better from T2. Both outside backs have already been more involved in this first part of the second half than they were in all of the first half. Marco Farfan getting forward, Harold Hansen getting forward, and it just gives the T2 much more opportunity to get those crosses into the box and be dangerous.
Well, T2's been opportunistic with opportunities coming outside the box. They're actually tied for first in USL Championship with 4 goals having come outside of the penalty box. And Marvin Lauria will have a chance to strike this with his dangerous left foot. He can curl a ball among the best of them in this league. Had some incredible goals last season. Number 5 play on SportsCenter's top 10 last year for a goal against Orange County. We'll see what he can put together here.
They'll be looking to get this to the near post here, curl it right up and over the box.
And he can't get it up over the top of the wall. Although we have a whistle from John Freeman. Looks like a yellow card is going to be shown. I don't know if this is for... My initial thought was that the arm might have come up. And a yellow card being issued to Conrad Plua.
And I'm not really sure where the foul is called there and what the referee is seeing. Perhaps it's encroachment. Perhaps the wall just took a couple steps too far forward, and that's why Plua got the yellow card. But I would think that the rest of the wall would all get yellow cards as well. So I'm, I guess, confused on the yellow card here.
So Loria will get a chance to hit this one again. This time the wall does look like it's a little further back than it does before. I don't want to give Loria a second chance at this one, looking for his 3rd goal of the season. 60th minute. Hits the wall again and goes out for a corner kick. So obviously difficult to get that ball up and down over the wall, and Loria just couldn't quite do it there.
Yeah, and credit to the Monarchs. They did a really good job of jumping, getting their big boys into that wall and making sure that everybody's taking a piece of that. And 2 Monarchs players have gone down because of Loria's shot. He's got an absolute cannon of a shot.
Worden to take the corner kick. We do have an explanation on why Loria and T2 were given that second free kick opportunity, as Worden's cross blocked directly back to him. Send it in again over the head of Calixtro. Jadama was there, but won by Monarchs and cleared. The description we heard from the 4th official, Mike Hohenholz, downstairs was that the reason John Freeman blew his whistle was a failure to respect distance. So indeed an encroachment from the wall net.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was thinking if Plua got a yellow card and the rest of the wall was with him, why wouldn't they all get yellow cards as well? But that might be a bit excessive.
Showing 4 yellow cards, that would be a sight.
You never know.
I believe that would make SportsCenter's not top 10.
No, that would definitely not be a top 10 moment. Especially if Kasher was in the wall, in which I don't think he was. He would have gotten his 2nd yellow card, which wouldn't have been good for the Monarchs.
Aspria plays the ball to Hansen. Great vision by Aspria to find Hansen. Hit the first-time cross. And again, Plua was there directly in front of Calixtro. And it was a good thing because Calixtro was ready to pounce and put that header on frame. T2 readying another substitution. 20-year-old Christian Ojeda on loan from Club Atletico Talares in Argentina will come on here momentarily at the next dead ball. Some extended pressure and possession from Portland, but can they turn it into a goal here in the 62nd minute? Aspria tries to dribble around one man. Hurd does well to hold him off, and Brody clears.
Really nicely done there from Miller to hold up the counterattack. If Chang would have been able to turn there and play Herman into the space, they would have been a very dangerous counterattacking opportunity.
All over the top for Herman. Jadama there first.
Well done from Jadama just to track that thing down. Jadama's got it's a nice pace back there, which I don't think he gets as much credit for it as he deserves. It's really complimentary to a guy like Roy Miller, who maybe doesn't have that, but needs a guy next to him to really help with the fast guys up top.
Yeah, Miller will be tricky, creative in the way that he defends his opponents as Aspria sends in Farfan. Farfan defended by Akumu. Cross in, headed on by Sierakowski. Back post for Loria, off the post, and in by Aspria, who has his 6th goal of the year.
Well, T2 have absolutely deserved this goal. They've come out in this first half on the front foot, on the attack. They've got their outside backs involved in the game. Farfan just finding a little bit of space. A wonderful cross from him. It ends up hitting Sierakowski. Loria misses the opportunity, but Aspria is there to punish him. Excellent job from Aspria with the technique here. A lot of guys might have hit this one over the bar, but Aspria just pounds that ball into the back of the net to equalize for T2. Well done. 1-1, tie ball game.
And how about the last touch for Ryan Sierakowski? Heads it on to Marvin Loria. He will come off in place of Christian Ojeda. So Sierakowski off and Ojeda on, and game on between Portland Timbers 2 and Real Monarchs here with 26 minutes remaining plus stoppage time. And T2 have done it once again, coming back from a goal down.
And it comes down to that sense of belief that we talked about earlier, Fletcher, that Cameron Knowles has instilled in this team. In previous iterations of this team, you see them go down a goal and they just can't really get themselves back into the game. But in this scenario, this iteration, they've just been very, very good of earning their way back into a game. And let's be honest, they've deserved it. They've come out, they've played attacking style soccer. They've really pressed the Monarchs, and they've earned that opportunity, earned that goal.
Big switch over to Loria, was too far out in front of him from Asprilla, who's certainly feeling good now after scoring with his left foot again. That's 2 matches in a row where he scored with his left foot, his less favored left foot.
Made it look like it was pretty favored, though, the way he took that. And like I said, in situations when you're not on your favored foot, you have a tendency just to mishit it or not use the right technique. But he strikes it well, he gets it low, and obviously gets enough power on it to get it past the goalkeeper.
Get updates and alerts all year long by following your club on ESPN.com. Search for Portland Timbers 2 and then click the follow button to keep up with the latest news and scores. Plus, get reminders on Portland Timbers 2's next match. Go to ESPN.com now and click follow for your club. Foul called on Ruiz. Feels like he's being a bit hard done by there, as Freeman whistles for Portland to put it back to where the foul was to restart play. Foul there on Calixtro. Gio Calixtro, Nat, has had a quiet night, hasn't necessarily had the best service in a sense, you could say, and then also with the numbers being so collapsed there central, as Loria does well again to win it and will dribble through a couple of defenders. Loria has reinforcements coming, will shoot from distance and just misses that top left corner of the net.
Well, transition soccer is the name of the game for Marvin Loria. Calixtro wins the ball, but Loria takes it from him and just runs into the space. That shot does not miss by much. Loria, such a good runner in that space. Great job from him, just attacking and getting that opportunity. But yeah, we haven't mentioned Calixtro's name very often, Fletcher, and he's not the type of striker who's going to make the game. He's not going to come back and connect with the midfielders. He's really a box type of a striker. And
as this cross comes in from Hurd, cleared away by Hansen, and Ojeda comes back to win it in his first real touches of the night, and then wins a throw, and then Hurd kicks the ball at the near side official, Eric Wood, and will rightly receive a yellow card for that action.
Just showing a little bit of frustration there from the Monarchs side. They haven't had a good start to this second half, haven't really been able to impose their will like they would like to. And the ball clearly out of touch here, and Hurd not a big fan of the call from the linesman.
Well, it might be why he only has 1 goal this year. Hasn't been able to find that ability to hit it where he needs to or where he might want to.
Certainly, I like the fact that the referee has stood up for his linesman in that scenario. You just don't want to see players losing their cool like that, especially showing a bit of vitriol at the officials.
Well, and it's not necessarily like there's been a whole bunch of calls that have gone against Real Monarchs in this game, as Calixtro gets on it and the box goes down. No foul called. That was close. But T2 get possession back. Ojeda now to Loria. Loria plays Asprilla. Asprilla still with it. And then a foul called there on Ruiz. Chang slams the ball down on the ground. Freeman just stares at him.
And we're talking about Calixto and how good he is actually in the box. He does a great job there of getting in front of the. For me, there's contact there. As you can see, Plua does uses his arm to push Calixto, so that's a penalty for me. Referee here seeing Asprilla get fouled. I'm not sure that was necessarily a foul, but I think the penalty certainly could have been called. The referee, though, I'm not sure if he was in the right position, had the right angle, though, to see that arm extended from Plua.
And you could tell he took a second to think about the Calixto potential foul, decided then to wave it off. But yeah, you wonder, I mean, that's a natural wonder in the human mind, is if you get to that moment where Asprilla's at the top of the half circle there and he thinks, I might have missed one.
Right, he wants to make up the call, but the call he needs to make obviously is the penalty, and Calixto does a great job of getting himself in between the man and the ball, and I think Plua takes him down, and certainly should have been a penalty kick for T2.
Golden opportunity here in the 70th minute for Portland to take the lead. Marvin Loria and Mo Jadama will be one of those two to hit this one. Jadama runs up, will hit it, and put it in the back of the net. And T2 have turned this result on its head. Portland's up 2-1 in the 70th minute.
Well, Mo Jadama has been an unsung hero for this T2 squad, doing it in the back, taking care of defensive responsibilities, and also doing it here on the set piece. He aims for the exact right spot in the wall where they're not jumping. He hits it with power. He hits it with pace. Look at the technique from the center back to get that ball, curl inside of the net. The goalkeeper has no chance there. Take off your jersey, Mo Jadama. What a goal.
So Jadama's 4th goal of the year is a big one. Portland trailed 1-0 at the break, have turned things around. They're up 2-1 with under 20 minutes to play. Substitution during that celebration. James Moberg, the 25-year-old defender from Windsor, California, comes on in place of Josh Hurd. So Moberg will move along the back line, and Andrew Brody will move up more towards a wing position for Monarchs.
I mean, back to that goal, Fletcher. As a center back, you don't want to get unnecessary yellow cards, but I respect this one from Jadama to take off his jersey just to show his excitement, his enthusiasm for scoring what could be the game winner for his team. Something I wish I would have done more as a center back.
Flashbacks to Brandy Chastain in the Women's World Cup final, right?
Yeah, everybody's wearing those. You want to call them the black sports bras for the players, because they've got their
tracking chips.
Yeah, tracking chips inserted in there. But man, what a great goal for Jadama. I think everybody in the stadium was expecting Loria to hit that as well.
Well, and you know, it'd be interesting to go back and get your thoughts as a foul's called on Portland there. If you look at that end zone replay that we showed you, it very much looked like Horvath was cheating that way, thinking that it was going to be a left-footed curler from Loria, and left the whole right side, if you will, of his net open for a Mo Jadama strike.
Well, and that's what I was thinking. I was thinking Loria was going to go towards that far post with the strike, because that's where Horvath was positioned on the other side. But Jadama with the strike and the technique for him to be able to score that, curling it from that angle into that far post is just very well taken.
So now how does the mentality change, Nat? You came out in 45 minutes after the halftime whistle knowing that you needed to at least get a goal, and in 25 minutes you've taken that 1-goal deficit and turned it into a 1-goal lead.
Now it turns into, okay, how do we ride this result out? They've done everything they needed to do, T2.
As we take another look at Jadama's strike.
And he just gets everything there. no chance for the goalkeeper. I don't even think if the goalkeeper was a yard over to the right, he would have had a chance at that strike. Jadama puts it absolutely in the perfect spot in that upper corner. Just a dream goal for a center back. Amazing. But you look at the task ahead now for T2. It's going to come down really to control, imposing the will, continuing to make sure they pick the right moments to press, make sure that they're good with the ball in possession, and then transition moments like this one, making the right decisions. Maybe you're able to nip that third goal and put this game to bed.
Spria had Farfan on the overlapping run, decided to go central instead, and Portland happy to play with a bit of possession here.
We've seen Espria overload the central part of the field in this half as well, a lot more.
Ball out for Anguiano to Hansen. His hit off the half volley, if you will, on the cross was over the top of everyone and out for a goal kick.
But it seems like that overload from Espria has just been so dangerous, and the Monarchs just haven't been able to deal with it like they would want to. And go back to that cross from Hansen. He's got to do better there. He's got to start making sure he gets those. He had a very good cross in the early part of this half. Just got to continue to be consistent with those crosses into the box.
High press from Real Monarchs, but Portland's able to get it out of pressure. Jadama happy to sit on it for a moment. We'll play it back to McIntosh, as we have just a quarter hour remaining here at Providence Park. Espria wins the header down to Ojeda. Ojeda will shoot from distance. Horvath has to deflect away, and Loria tracks it down in front of Powder. Loria does well to get around Powder, dribbling into the box, looking over his options, plays it central over the head of Calixtro, and picked up by Brody. Chang tries to turn on Miller. Miller showing that experience, does well to win it away, and Anguiano getting into the act now. Calixtro not making that diagonal run that Anguiano was looking for, and Horvath collects. Tell you how big that goal was for T2 from Jadama. When Portland is tied at the 75-minute mark this year, they are 0-2-2, have not won a match. When they're leading after 75 minutes, they are 4-0-1, have not lost.
That's a stat you have to like if you're Cam Knowles, a team that can close games out when they're up a goal. Such an important feature for a team, such an important characteristic, and that's what T2 is going to want to bring in these final 15 minutes or so. But I really like that last sequence of plays from T2. They did everything right in terms of attacking wise. Loria with some nice moves. Roy Miller with a really nice defensive play. Anguiano making the right decisions in midfield. That's what you want to see when you're closing games out. Just the right decisions.
And well worked by Espria, showing his work where to get around one man, take it off another. Here he is dribbling into the box, cuts it back, has three options, looks for Calixtro, can't get it over Plua though. Conrad Plua using that big 6'3" frame has been huge in this second half, keeping Portland from more dangerous opportunities in front of goal.
Yeah, and how good has Espria been in this half, Fletcher? He has just been dynamite coming down that left channel here.
Shot comes, easy stuff for Kendall McIntosh. That was from the left back, Powder. That goal from Jadama also put Portland Timbers 2 into sole possession of first place, with 5 goals coming from outside the penalty area this season.
And that's an interesting stat for me. The ability to score from outside of the box shows for me that T2 has progressed a lot in terms of being able to possess around the top of the box and being able to create chances there versus necessarily serving balls into the box, which is more traditional way of scoring. Scoring from distance takes some special players, and they certainly have them, and a guy like Loria and certainly Jadama with that strike.
Jadama doing some defensive work on Herman right now, as Real Monarchs are prepared to make their third and final substitution. Chang goes outside for Powder. First time cross in. Jadama wins it, and then Wharton clears. Out to touch. So 79th minute, the substitution will come from Real Salt Lake, or Real Monarchs, I should say. But before that, let's take a look at how we got here. Started in the 37th minute, and the visitors opening the scoring.
Yeah, just a technical Wonderful chance from Martinez, bags it in the upper corner. No chance from McIntosh.
Second half dominated by T2. Dyron Asprilla gets on the score sheet.
Yeah, Dyron Asprilla, clinical finish here. Keeps that ball driven, low, lots of power, equalizer. Great job.
And then in the 70th minute, Mo Jadama on a free kick.
Very unexpected from Mo Jadama, but he picks out that upper corner with a powerfully placed shot, takes off his jersey and says, "That's my goal."
So 2-1 is where we stand with just over 10 minutes left to play, and our substitute coming on, Kyle Coffey, the 23-year-old from Syracuse, Utah, comes on in place of Andrew Brody, the 24-year-old defender. So it's another attacking body on for Real Monarchs, as it ends in a throw for Real Monarchs there. So another number pushed forward, likely a back three for Monarchs. Bad pass from Ruiz. And Asprilla can't find Calixtro. Cross comes in, headed on nearly to Herman and cleared out of danger by Wharton.
Good job from Loria there to connect with Ojeda. When a team is pressing you like this in the latter stages, you have to make sure you're just connecting those passes. You don't want to give anything away silly and give a team like the Monarchs the opportunity to create chances.
Fans, the USL unveiled its elite youth platform, USL Academy. This allows clubs at all levels across the USL to develop its local talent and compete at the highest level across the United States, including the USL Academy Cup. For more information, visit uslsoccer.com/academy. Certainly nice to have an experienced presence like Roy Miller in this situation, as Asprilla does well to shield Moberg away from that one, collect it down near the corner flag. Ball goes out, and it flicked off of Asprilla after Moberg kicked it, and it's a goal kick. But the work rate from Asprilla has been impressive, Nat. We've talked about it throughout the course of the evening, but showing why he has been a valuable part of this franchise for the better part of 4 years now.
Yeah, and the work rate from him has been there. Just the way he's able to use his strength and use his power to get at defenders, to win balls, to win challenges. And then obviously the final product was there for him in the chance that he got, and he's created some very good chances as well. For me, he's been the most dangerous player for T2 in this half, and more importantly in this game.
So we mentioned the results that Portland have gotten in their last 6 of their last 7 matches. This would just be their second win in their last 6, though, if they're able to hold on to this lead. Ruiz with it top of the box, shot deflected, and McIntosh with the easy catch.
And I have to say that T2 has done a really good job defensively of being compact, being difficult to break down. I like Anguiano and Wharton above the 2 center backs holding there. They've done a good job of staying disciplined in this game and just not allowing any space for those attacking players of the Monarchs to get into and create those dangerous opportunities that they're trying to create.
And this is not a good sign. Loria down, asking for the ball to be played out. And finally it is by Real Monarchs. Looks like it is potentially just a cramp, though, as Ruiz kindly and sportingly runs over to Loria to stretch out that right leg.
Love when the opposing player comes over and stretches the other player's leg. It always cracks me up. Do you really want him to do that, or do you want your trainer to do that?
Greg Wakefield quickly out to take a look. And we will see the substitution that ends Loria's evening in the 83rd minute. It will be Brian Hurtado coming on in place of Loria, the 19-year-old from Venezuela on loan from Mineros de Guayana. Has made 10 appearances for the Venezuelan U20s, 58 appearances and 49 starts for Mineros in the last 2 seasons for Hurtado. So Lauria's night's done, and again, didn't necessarily expect him to go the full 90 tonight as he continues to come back from full fitness. And your thoughts on Lauria's performance this evening?
Yeah, I thought he really grew into the game, Fletcher. I thought he has been fantastic, especially in this second half of just running at players, running at that back line with a full head of steam, which is what he is best at. And I think he did a really good job. It was a good job, a good step forward for him in his progression coming back from the injury. And we'll look forward to seeing him again soon.
So that substitution leads Ojeda to come into the middle space that Lauria was occupying, Espria to go from the left to the right, and then Hurtado to play out here on the left side of the attack for T2. '85th minute, Portland's turned this one on its head. Trailed 1-0 at halftime, 2 goals in the second half. In a span of 7 minutes, has given Portland the lead. And an opportunity to pick up the first 3 points in this newly renovated Providence Park. That will see the MLS Timbers play here for the first time on Saturday night against LAFC in a nationally televised game.
You'd have to say that's bragging rights too, Fletcher, to be the first team to get the 3 points in this building puts a lot of pressure on the Timbers to beat LAFC on the weekend.
The Timbers organization, Timbers and Thorns organization, I should say, nearly pulled off the triple on Saturday as Ojeda places out into space for Hurtado, who shoots. It's deflected directly back to him, but so hot he can't quite control it. And here comes Chang the other way. 4 on 4 if Monarchs hurry, but T2 get numbers back. Though it's still Cashier dribbling at the defense, puts his shot high. So let's go ahead and take a look at the upcoming schedule for Portland Timbers 2. We mentioned a quiet month of May. They only played 3 matches in May. They'll play 5 in the month of June. Trips to Austin, Orange County, and Phoenix, home to Fresno on Father's Day, and Reno 1868 on the 26th. So good balance of home and road coming up in the next month.
It just feels hot to me, Fletcher, when I look at that schedule. Going to those, going to Phoenix, going to LA, going to Austin. Oh man, I remember as a player, I would circle those games in the summer, like the FC Dallas trip, going to DC United, going to Sporting Kansas City, and say, man, it wouldn't be the worst thing if I was, injured or I had yellow card accumulation, because those games are so hard to play. The humidity and the heat. Oh man, I just never did very well in those types of temperatures.
That is tough, no doubt about it. But would you rather play where it's scorching hot or absolutely freezing cold?
I'll take the freezing cold all day long.
All right.
I'm better in cold weather. I got my beard that protects me, so definitely better.
You can always put more layers of clothes on, right?
Yes, right, exactly. Much more difficult the other way around.
Well, I think I have my answer to the question you asked me in the 29th minute, which was, if you were going to be a superhero, who would you be? I'd be Superman, just so I never have to fight traffic. But we'll wait on that as Brian Hurtado tries to be Superman and forces Alex Horvath into a parry away. Hurtado's been active since coming on a few minutes ago.
This is good transition play from T2. Calixto getting involved, playing that final ball to Hurtado. It's a great first touch. It sets him up on his left foot. He just pings it to that near post, but it's a good save from the goalkeeper, Horvath.
Portland's outshot Real Monarchs 14-8 in this match. It's been one of the interesting talking points for this Portland Timbers 2 team this season, Nat. We looked at last year as this corner kick comes in and is headed away by Monarchs. And then a miss hit by Farfan, and Herman's bringing it forward, and then Farfan fouls Herman and will receive a caution card. But T2 were a club that seemed to fare very well last season when they were outshot by their opponent. In a sense, you could say, when they were forced in to defend. Meanwhile, this year, they've done much better when they have dominated play and when they've controlled the pace of action and such. Better results, better opportunities, and finished off their chances. They're 2-0-3 when out shooting their opponent this year. as that ends up in a goal kick.
And I think that just shows the progression for Cam Knowles' team, the maturity, being able to control games, being able to finish games out. That's what you want to see as a head coach, because if you dominate that possession, you get the greater of the shots. You should, as a mature team, be able to finish games and get more points. So traffic's a real thing for you, huh?
Yeah, traffic's a real thing, man.
Wow.
People are probably going, hey, this is Portland, not LA, but hey, it's gotten bad in Portland.
It can be tough during those rush hour times around here.
Great touch there as Hansen takes down the Monarchs attacker, and a dangerous opportunity for Monarchs here on the free kick chance. It was Plua that was bringing it forward, and then Coffey was the man who was taken down.
And Hansen just overplaying the attacker there, is forced to make the foul. And this is a dangerous moment for the Monarchs.
Just a three-man wall for Portland as Real Monarchs ready to strike this. As we await the free kick, Monarchs trying to erase the deficit here as we approach stoppage time. Shot comes and collected by McIntosh. Nice secure hands from Kendall McIntosh. Maybe a little bit scary there given it's only his second match of the season, but does very well.
Yeah, he's had a solid game, Kendall McIntosh. Made the saves he's needed to make, been confident going out and getting the ball. And in situations like that, that's a harder save than it looks. And he's got to hold that ball, otherwise it falls to the Real Monarchs and they get a potential opportunity.
Here comes Chang the other direction though. For the visitors, his cross comes in, McIntosh collects, and it goes down. So great work there again. Alert by McIntosh, the T2 keeper, as Michael Chang has had a quiet night for Real Monarchs. Five goals on the season, but hasn't done much here this evening.
Yeah, he really hasn't, and that's a credit to T2's back line, and really their back six has just done a really good job of making sure that he hasn't been as much of a factor as he has been in previous games for the Monarchs, just limiting his space and his movement. He just hasn't gotten as many touches as he would like.
Farfan with a long throw. Akumo gets around Calixtro, I should say, gets around Akumo and earns a corner kick. So great work there by Gio Calixtro to burn a few more seconds, and Ojeda will certainly take his time walking over to restart this.
Calixtro's done well. We haven't called his name much in this game, but this half, towards the end of this half, he's done a very good job of just being a thorn in the side of that back line and making sure that he's helping his team win this game.
And T2 will certainly take their time with this. We had the opportunity to chat with Martin Vasquez earlier today, Nat, and he has the unique distinction of being one of two players ever to have caps with both the Mexican national team and the U.S. men's national team, which we chatted with him about, and he said pretty much, this is 50-50 for me. Anytime these two sides face off, I was born in Mexico. I moved to the United States at the age of 12. Darwin Asprilla there issued a yellow card, but really interesting, and what a cool thing for Martin Vasquez, I should say, to have that distinction.
Yeah, what an amazing career for Martin Vasquez to be able to play for both the U.S. national team and the Mexican national team, be able to have these experiences with both of those different types of locker rooms, the different languages, the different cultures, and it just shows what a great player he was to have had the opportunity to do that.
I asked him, who do you root for when they square off? Whoever has more on the line. He said, I have to be politically correct with this response whenever I'm asked this question. So it is 50-50 through and through, as Asprilla does well after receiving the yellow card to win it back, earn his team a corner kick, and now a throw-in.
Get up, get up.
1 minute remaining And a big chance at a counterattack here for Real Monarchs as Portland is caught a bit forward. This ball for Plua finds him defended by Wharton. Now back to Cashier, cross in, headed away by Miller. Only as far as Pena, who finds Chang off the chest. Calixtro back to defend and does well, then Farfan gets it out to Asprilla.
Well done from Calixtro there.
And then Asprilla wins the throw. 30 seconds remaining at the discretion of John Freeman. Ojeda, back post. Doesn't curl enough to find Hurtado there. And with 15 seconds left, is there one more chance at an attack for Real Monarchs? Wharton sends it back into T2's attacking half. John Freeman looks at his watch. Hurtado dribbles central, still with it. Feigns the shot once. Now will shoot. Takes the deflection off of Akumu. And there's the final whistle. T2 trailing after 45 minutes. Scores a pair of goals in 8 minutes in the second half. And earned 3 points at home. Move to 6-2-4 on the season. 22 points with 7 results in their last 8 matches. Meanwhile, Real Monarchs fall to 3-6-3 and stay on 12 points.
Great response from T2, especially in this second half, Fletcher, to go out, be aggressive, get the goals they needed to get, and then to shut things down, not give the Real Monarchs any sniffs or any opportunities in the second half. Well done. Great performance from Cam Knowles and his team.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the overall match highlights from this one. Start off in the 3rd minute. Real Monarchs nearly opened the scoring. Conrad Plua.
Yeah, should have been 1-0 here with this chance from Plua. Does a great job to get to the back post. Just can't get that ball on net.
As we take another look how big that moment is given the 2 goals that T2 scored in the second half. Then it was the Marvin Loria show.
Yeah, Marvin Loria really needed to grow into this game, but once he did, you can see how dangerous he can be when he is running at backlines, when he is making that final pass. He is just so good in those tight spaces, so technical, such a good, exciting, fast player. I really love this situation right here where he's getting closed down by 3 players. A 4th player comes in here. He's still able to make it out of there unscathed with the ball at his feet. Just such an exciting, promising player. And then he comes back to help out defensively, which is a sign that he is in it for his team. And I think he was just a dangerous player all game long.
37th minute, it's Douglas Martinez with the lone score for the visitors.
He does a great job here to set up and play that ball and get the ball back. And what technique just to throw that into the far corner there. No chance for McIntosh on the save.
1-0 at halftime, and then Dairon Asprilla started to make his presence felt.
Yeah, Asprilla had a fantastic second half. Great ball in from Farfan. Off the post there from Loria, and then Asprilla's there just to finish things off emphatically. I love this technique here. It's on his less favored left foot. He's still able to stick it into the net and equalize for T2.
And then it was Asprilla that earned a free kick in the 70th minute, and it's Mo Jadama that finishes it.
Yeah, the guy you wouldn't expect to be able to finish a chance like this, but he does it so well with the power, the pace, the technique, and you can see how much it means to him to be able to score like that. A goal for a center back, for the captain. Well done, Jadama.
Portland outshot Real Monarchs 15-9, and now even their series all time with Real Monarchs. 4 wins, 4 losses, and 3 draws. The second meeting between these two will come up Saturday, September 14th, a noon kickoff at Zions Bank Stadium. Well, for Portland Timbers, too, they get a win and a draw in the first 2 matches ever at the newly renovated Providence Park. They'll be back here in this building Father's Day, June 16th at 2 p.m. against Fresno FC. For our entire broadcast crew behind the scenes, our producer, Tony Smith, as well as my broadcast partner, Nat Borchers, I'm Fletcher Johnson. We hope to see you back here in this building come Saturday, June 1st for the MLS Timbers against LAFC. But until June 16th, have a great beginning of the month, and we'll talk to you in a few weeks.